Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the Minister for sharing this 1 year. You know, usually a 1 year anniversary is somewhat of a celebration. I'm not so sure we can celebrate a pandemic, but we can certainly celebrate how New Brunswick has fared during the pandemic. And you know, you've got to look at New Brunswick a little bit differently. I think we fared well because people did take it serious. I think you can also look at the demographic of our province. We're, you know, largely a rural province. We have no international airports, no major international hubs of travel, and I think that worked to New Brunswick's favour, as it did for most of Atlantic Canada. Nova Scotia had a little bit of a battle there early on. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the pandemic and some of the rules surrounding it, you know, I've always been a believer in rules that make sense and evidence-based decisions. But I got to be honest, I mean, sitting on the COVID Cabinet Committee has, while it's been an honour, has certainly been a rocky time from time to time in relation to some of the rules. And I can talk about the zones. I've raised this before publicly, why we have these massive zones. I live in a zone where Minto Chipman is in the same zone as Plaster Rock. So if you see 3 cases in my zone, who knows? Could be my neighbour, could be, you know, 130 kilometres away. So that has been an issue. I think the rules surrounding rotational workers has been an issue, especially when you have companies that are very diligent about making sure that their employees are properly following the rules when travelling into the province. I think they've been unfairly targeted, quite frankly. And you know, as the vaccines roll out, I was disappointed to say that you know, rotational workers were bumped up the list of vaccination, but then no details of what that means. Just means you're going to get vaccinated sooner, but we're not going to tell you why. I think that needs to be disclosed and should have been disclosed when the vaccines were put out in priority list. But, Mr. Speaker, overall, it's good that the vaccines are coming. I encourage people to get vaccinated, and once those New Brunswickers are vaccinated, I think at that point we do have to start looking at removing the state of emergency, because we've got COVID for a long time. It's not going away, and this is going to be a yearly thing, and we have to learn to deal with it and live as normal as possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.